Okay, this is a secondary on something that I've done, well, quite a few videos on actually, different aspects of the younger dryas events and what happened at the end of the last ice age, because there's a lot of devastating things that are correlating all into one thing, and a lot of people have made these um, comments about it. One real famous one that people should know about is Randall Carlson, where he's showing you all of these floods that happened across the Americas, or North America, and the melting away rapidly, apparently, of the continental ice shelf that was there, almost 2 miles deep and across North America, and it apparently evaporated off. But let's just get into this now and show you that there were some people that made a recording of that time at the time in question. And it's something that I've shown a few videos on, and I showed one exactly of this, but apparently Martin Sweatman has actually taken this to the next level here and has found a few more correlations on the site, and I just wish there were actually some pictures with some arrows and talking about it, but we'll just get into this here and I'll try to help with what I showed in other videos before. Scientists found a 12,000-year-old monument. Turns out it may be humanity's oldest calendar. This is an article that's been put out by Popular Mechanics. So they quite often will do some things that don't necessarily have to do with working on cars, huh? But in this article here, it goes into depth about Gobekli Tepe and how some of these pillars are showing you representations and hookups that kind of sound vaguely familiar with what we know of as Stonehenge, but this dates back many thousands of years before this. If you're not familiar with the Gobekli Tepe site, there are roughly, they claim, some still underground, about 50 of these Stonehenge type circles, and a lot of them have intricate bas-relief carvings of different animals and so on, and representations. And yet there's a few pillars here that really have drawn the attention of researchers and myself, and show a lot of connections. Let's just get into this. If you have to, pause and grab a cup of tea or your beverage of choice. Carvings on a 12,000-year-old monument in Turkey appear to mark solar days and years, making it possibly the oldest solar calendar in ancient civilization. Marking a massive comet strike as the start, inhabitants use symbols to record every astronomical event, including those as small as single days. The summer solstice was called out on the monument as a special day. And if you've ever done any research or what they actually know about Stonehenge itself, it hooks up to all kinds of things. The exact circumference that they used allowed them to put pillars in a sequence around this, and in doing so, they were able to mark off solar and lunar calendar effects through the 18-year cycle of the lunar calendar with the yearly calendar of the sun. And of course, druids and stuff, and modern day druids, will come out there on certain days, and you can see that it's demarcated, and it's still correct to this day. Just like our calendar that we use currently is going to take thousands of years to be off by even a single day. But that's a different subject altogether. In a study published in Time and Mind, based on the work of researchers from the University of Edinburgh, experts write that markings at Gobekli Tepe in southern Turkey, which is a temple-like archaeological complex filled with intricate carved symbols, indicate the markings of a solar calendar that tracks days, seasons, and years. So these people some 10,500 years ago are coming out through the last ice age knew of these facts. And I've showed a few videos where I go into cave art and showing the fact that, well, in one of these caves that I showed, it shows that they are showing the zodiac on the wall. And if you were somehow to make that a transparent wall, they're putting it basically right there on it. So they were able to detect what, it was on the wall like that, and then they correlated to that, which is incredible. But of course, a lot of the burrows and things that I've done other videos about that are in around Stonehenge and Brune-le-Boyne and all kinds of other sites actually show you that they were working off the solstice and through calendars and things like that. But this seems to show that it dates back thousands of years before that, and they already had it going on quite well. By analyzing the symbols carved into the pillars, the team believes that every V could represent a single day. Given that one pillar features 365 days are the V symbols, and I showed this in an ancient video, or in an earlier video that I've done years ago, through Martin Sweatman, showing this fact. And among those, the summer solstice in particular was highlighted with a V, and it was worn around the neck of a bird-like beast meant to represent the summer solstice. Well, I've also, in that video, I'll made the correlation, and here I do too. It was with a vulture. And a vulture has become a sign of death. And I've shown earlier depictions of people who used to put their dead up on a dais and let the birds peck them away, and the birds take them to an ideal heaven idea. And this hooks up with that. And this can be found in the ancient Egyptians, where they have this vulture type effect too. Growing up in Texas, we called them buzzards, but it's basically some variations on a theme of the same situation. And anytime there's a cattle or something that goes down of any size at all and dies, they have such an intricate sense of smell, they can detect it, and then you see them swirling over the top of it where they're going to come down and land. And they get together in groups and come down and take care of it. Well, this is something that, of course, went on from vultures, and probably the primordial thing that led into a vulture, where they had this effect where they were a scavenger type creature. But these V's worn around the neck of this bird-like beast meant to represent the summer solstice constellation during that time. And the calendar explanation could help explain why the V symbols on so many other nearby statues and others correlated with it at other sites, which I might show a couple of pictures of here, linked to time and creation, with the V almost always showing up around their neck. And again, it shows up around the neck of the bird. But it shows up around the neck of Urfaman. There's a blue-eyed depiction here. It looks kind of like a giant, but there are more correlations to this situation. And this idea where they started off, and I said in my other video, where they have 364 of those, and where's the actual extra V? Are they figuring out that there's a leap year or this, that, and the other? No, they apparently had already figured that out also. And the 365th V is right there on his bird's neck, which is holding a symbol, or like the sun in a situation, designating either the summer solstice, or a lot of people think that it's correlating to this comet that struck the Earth after being fractionated across the North Continental ice shelf, most of which being air bolides, which blew up in the air over it. But as we've seen with other sites that had these situations, it equals nuclear bomb type effects, and much stronger than the ones at Hiroshima and Nagasaki and so on that we've seen, because it can do a devastating amount of damage. There was even one not too many years ago in Russia, and it caused all kinds of havoc, and it was still way up in the atmosphere whenever it got to the point of exploding. And that's probably why we don't find any of these craters, because there's 2 miles of ice thick that's over that. So even if one hit in the ice, you can imagine the heating exchange that was going on with them heating up through the atmosphere, and then all of a sudden to be cooled down so rapidly it exploded rather than leaving a crater as it would if it was a metallic meteorite. The calendar's preoccupation with days and night and seasonal changes may have sparked anew with a world-changing comet strike, one that experts believed occurred in roughly 10,850 BC and helped contribute to a mini ice age that eliminated numerous species. I've also done videos on this, but I'm going to show you a picture here of the Younger Dryas event and how through ice cores and things we've been able to find out that, well, we were down in the last ice age and then coming out of it, and it's pretty linear where it's coming out of it. But then there's an event called the Balling-Elrod, which is a spike of warmth, and then all of a sudden after that there's this huge spike down, even getting us colder there for a while than the last ice age was, just preemptive to it coming up. And it seemingly overnight raises up to about where it should have been, and then continues on to warm slightly and then pan on out. And a lot of people have made, Robert Schoch says, well, this could be a solar event. This could be this, it could be that. Whenever that first came out as a concept, I was like,